The video that's gone super viral about the mid-air collision over Washington skies, 19 people confirmed dead as the information coming in. And this is a developing story, remember? So therefore, as more and more rescue attempts are being done, we'll try and know exactly what happened. Look at this. The visual that's going viral on social media. The DCA crash has confirmed 19 bodies have been pulled from the water. Minutes before landing, the aircraft was on its way to land at the airport. No survivors yet, according to the information coming in. Because this was right above the Potomac River, so it's very likely that when the plane crashed, most of the passengers likely fell into the river as well. We were told in total on the American Airlines aircraft, there were 64 people on board. 3 on board the Army Black Hawk helicopter that collided with the passenger plane. Now, it's been hours since the crash. And just to add to what the situation could be on the ground, remember that it's icy cold season right now as well, especially for Washington. According to our information, the river is covered in ice. Flight tracking data shows that the route before the signal was lost over the river, and that borders the airport. Police have reported multiple agencies are conducting search and rescue operations. The Reagan Airport has announced that all takeoffs and landings have been suspended. Emergency crews are responding to the incident. But what a terrible tragedy. Minutes before landing, this passenger aircraft of the American Airlines collides mid-air with a U.S. Army Black Hawk chopper, which also, of course, had passengers on board. In total, 19 people dead. But 19 only means the ones who have been rescued, the bodies that have been taken out. There have been no survivors yet. And therefore, it is significant and symbolizes the kind of situation that we are looking at, as possibly the passengers also fell into an icy cold river.
472. American 3130, go around, turn left in 250, claim maintain 3000. 342, that's Wilson Bridge, change to surf, runway 33, clear to land. 25 Memorial. S25 running. S25, 0 G in flight. S25, S1 is VRJ.
S5 has a aircraft in sight, precision separation.
Separation. American 3130, go around, turn left.
This is the American Airlines flight 5342, which was about to land at the Reagan Airport. And it appears from the information that I have that there was a clearance given to the passenger aircraft to land. But if you hear also closely from the ATC clip that's going viral in this video, that the clearance given to the passenger aircraft, also a message sent out to the military chopper. Then what happened? It is a busy airport. This wouldn't be the first time that the aircrafts are so close to each other. You can see that this is, of course, and remember, this is from a certain distance that a webcam has possibly caught it. The passenger plane about to land. Look very closely. Right next to it is a chopper also coming in. And then, boom, there's this explosion that takes place. 64 people were on board the 5342 aircraft of the American Airlines. There were at least 4 passengers on board the helicopter of the U.S. Army Black Hawk. 19 bodies have been rescued from the Potomac River, where, of course, when the explosion happened, people who must have fallen. And because it's a river covered in ice right now, so the temperature also have been dipping. But massive rescue operations, it's so close to the airport, and therefore the US authorities would ensure that multiple agencies have got together, all facilities have been put in place. But what a terrible tragedy. Minutes before landing at such a busy airport. The Ronald Reagan Airport, we are told, has been the takeoffs and the landings have been shut for now, temporarily suspended till they clear the area. But what happens? If the ATC gave a clearance to the passenger aircraft, what happened to the command given to the chopper? I want to just take you through closely again. You can see in what we have circled to help you understand, because this was late into the night. You can see the chopper and you can see the passenger plane as well, and then the collision that happens. Such an avoidable tragedy, but also perhaps a reminder that while we have these heightened technology, even for the USA, there are a matter of seconds when such a collision can happen. So we'll try and find out, an investigation is on precisely on what exactly happened. Shashank Mattu, my colleague, is joining me. Shashank, tell us about possibly what time did this happen? What is your initial information coming in? Because it's not that the coordination wasn't there. There was a full-on coordination, and yet 19 people have lost their life.
You're absolutely right. I think what's happened is that this happened around 8:40 p.m. American in the Eastern Standard Time. What's happened, of course, as you were mentioning, is that we've also gotten just in the last couple of minutes some audio from air traffic control that warned the Black Hawk military helicopter that was involved in this collision that there could be a possibility of collisions, that they should maintain safety. This was a Black Hawk U.S. Army helicopter that was on a training flight, but it turned out to be too late. Just seconds after that, the collision took place. Now the big questions, of course, are how exactly this happened, because planes generally come with a collision avoidance system. There's a very sophisticated software that tells them how to avoid collisions and gives these instructions to the passengers. So how exactly this happened, especially since 2009, there have not been any major collisions of this sort in the United States. It's been a 15-year record of aviation safety that seems to have been shattered at this point in time, and as you were saying, has claimed the lives of an estimated 90 people at this point in time, with no survivors yet confirmed.
Stay on with me, because this video has generated a debate as well. One, remember, it's the United States of America. It's a global superpower. You would expect they have the best of technology. They have the coordination and communication on what exactly then happened. Also joining us, Shiv Arur for the latest. Shiv, super viral video. Everyone's talking about it. What is your understanding? What exactly happened in this case in mid-air collision?
Obviously, a very, very catastrophic lapse of communication or situational awareness by, at least one of those aircraft.
Yes.
Mid-air collisions are extremely rare, but they do happen. And when they do happen, it is almost always because, someone has made a grievous error, at a time when situational awareness should have been extremely high. Now, the two aircraft, involved in this collision, as we've just told our viewers, is a CRJ-700 passenger jet belonging to American Airlines and a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter. And if you listen to the ATC audio that we've been able to obtain, you can see that the ground controller is in conversation with the pilots of both the aircraft and is actually asking the helicopter, the Black Hawk helicopter, which was being flown by U.S. Army military pilots, to keep a visual out for the aircraft, which suggests that either the helicopter didn't have a traffic collision avoidance system, or as some local reports are suggesting, it may have been flying dark, which means it had all its sensors off, which is not unusual for military aircraft flying in that area, and therefore it may have not, the crew may not have been situationally aware about the incoming aircraft. It's very rare that something like this happens, because these are professionally trained crews. The tri-state area over Washington, D.C. is one of the most, dense places on the planet as far as, air traffic is concerned. Extremely congested airspace in that area. And therefore, the margins for error are quite thin. But even keeping for all that, like I said, these are professionally trained flying crews, and they know what they're doing. They know the risks of flying in this area as well. So for something like this to happen, there has to have been, a catastrophic misunderstanding or a catastrophic delay in responding to a warning, or some kind of, really very, very serious miscommunication or, misjudgment. Those are the only real possibilities, that come to the fore at this point of time, because the Reagan Airport, which is in Arlington, Virginia, just outside Washington, D.C., is one of a handful of airports that operate in that area, apart from the biggest, which is the Dulles Airport in Washington, D.C. itself.
Okay.
So, the ground traffic, the ground controllers, air traffic controllers here are some of the most qualified people on the planet, because they're handling enormous, congestion and, very, very busy airspace at all times, 365 days a year and through the night. So we have to wait for what the Transport Safety Board and the investigation actually says. But, this would have been a really terrible, perfect storm of things going wrong for something like this to happen.
Almost, we are told, 67 people were on board, no survivors yet. And it is likely, with the kind of explosion that has taken place, rescue operations are on, and perhaps the rest of the world, other airports, can take lessons from what exactly happened. If this can happen in the USA, what about and how prepared are other countries, and even India for that matter, to ensure that such a tragedy never takes place? Thank you very much, Shiv.